Happy holidays, everyone, and welcome back to the Round Number One YouTube channel. I didn't expect to struggle with my recording during the holiday break, but I found it hard to come up with ideas last weekend. After 4 days of rest, I will record for you all. This will be a standard upload instead of a year in review episode. I'll also share some predictions for the new year, so stay tuned. Next week, Monday Night Raw will air on linear television networks in the UK, US, Canada, and Latin America for the final time. This marks a significant shift in WWE's broadcasting strategy, a move that will reshape the way we consume WWE content. For certain regions, including Canada, all WWE weekly content will move to air live on Netflix. In the US, SmackDown, NXT, and Saturday Night's main event will remain on linear television networks, with the PLEs remaining on Peacock. SmackDown on January 3rd, 2025 should be the first airing on Netflix globally. There is rumor that WWE will be also broadcasting that same episode of SmackDown on YouTube, and we should hear more about that tomorrow. On the talk of Raw being available live in 4K on Netflix, I believe a Raw on Netflix commercial was shown during yesterday's NFL Christmas games on Netflix in 4K, so I assume Raw on Netflix will be live in 4K. Some regions have already begun running WWE live programming on Netflix, going as far back as the Bad Blood PLE. And I don't know if they were 4K broadcast then, but the replays starting on January 1st, 2025 might possibly be re-uploaded in 4K. In surprising news, Sportsnet here in Canada has announced that TNA Wrestling, TNA Explosion, and an additional show that will air condensed time of TNA content will immediately hit Sportsnet on January 2nd, 2025, replacing WWE content. This is surprising news because most people thought that Sportsnet would scoop up the AEW rights from TSN, which is a competitor sports network to Sportsnet, which Bell Media, ESPN, and Disney co-own. As we reported episodes ago, Rogers Media, the parent company of Sportsnet, has made broadcasting and licensing deals with WBD and NBC Universal. So Sportsnet didn't want to wait for the AEW and TSN deal to expire and did the deal with Anthem Sports to bring TNA to the network. This move is significant because it shows that TNA is a strong enough brand to compete with AEW for broadcasting rights, and it could potentially change the landscape of wrestling broadcasting in Canada and beyond. According to the deal, TNA Wrestling has signed an exclusive multi-year agreement with Sportsnet. It will likely be a 5-year deal. TNA Impact will air every Thursday from 8 to 10 p.m. on Sportsnet 360, which is an additional Sportsnet network channel that was airing WWE content. Sportsnet will have exclusive first-run rights, and new episodes of TNA programming will be available on TNA Plus 2 weeks after their television broadcast in Canada. Let me tell you why this is a favorable deal for Sportsnet. It's not because of the WWE and TNA's relationship or because TKO Group manages TNA Plus, or if I can make a correction, it's actually Endeavor controls TNA Plus. This deal is favorable for Sportsnet because TNA is a Canadian company, which means that this deal fulfills Sportsnet's CanCon obligations even further. CanCon, which means Canadian content, is a law that stipulates that 35% of Canadian content on radio and TV must be Canadian content. Bringing in TNA content on Sportsnet means if 35% of Canadian content is filled, Sportsnet could bring in more US and or international programming on its sports station. No financial terms have been released publicly, but this deal could reshape the wrestling broadcast landscape in Canada and beyond. Now, staying on TNA news, I'm disappointed to report that Tessa Blanchard has returned to TNA. This is a significant development because of the controversies surrounding Tessa, including issues of racism, bullying, and insubordination. Her return could potentially stir up these issues again and affect the perception of TNA in the wrestling community. I have concerns regarding TNA Wrestling's decision and the recent comments made by Tessa Blanchard, Moose, and Booker T. First, I want to emphasize that I don't care about what Tessa has said behind the scenes at TNA or to the talent upon her return. She has yet to apologize for her past actions. Moose seems unconcerned about her termination from Impact, which stemmed from issues of racism, bullying, and insubordination, as well as the displeasure expressed by fans leading up to the point. Booker T, whose opinions I usually enjoy, has made some troubling statements. He has consistently chosen to overlook the issue of racism, even though WCW faced serious discrimination lawsuits. Interestingly, while Booker T seems to ignore racism in the workplace, he has criticized the Young Bucks for their locker room etiquette and for not shaking hands in TNA. Recently, Booker suggested that we as fans should forgive and forget. He also mentioned that current WWE wrestlers are interested in Tessa Blanchard, which struck me as one of the most surprising things he said. The storyline involving WWE wrestlers being upset with about CM Punk's return seems absurd, but I can understand that no one would refuse. But I can understand that because in reality, no one would refuse to work with Punk. However, Tessa Blanchard presents a different situation. It's easy to imagine her entering the WWE and facing legitimate backlash from her peers backstage, a situation I can empathize with. WWE superstar LA Knight has refused to work with Tessa Blanchard in TNA. Chelsea Green doesn't like her, and I'm sure she's not alone. Even though I don't have personal connections with people in WWE, regardless of what you think about Tony Khan, he has never indicated that he wanted Tessa Blanchard in AEW. Now, Tessa Blanchard is currently feuding with Jordynne Grace, which I find troubling, especially considering that Jordynne is married to Jonathan Gresham. Jordynne seems compelled to participate in this feud because, due to reports, she's leaving TNA very soon, and she probably doesn't want to have a bad reputation that would follow her into the WWE. This controversy stands out amidst all the good news about TNA's increasing attendance, a significant Canadian television deal, and announcements regarding excellent new broadcasting agreements in the US and internationally. Now we have breaking news from Wrestling Inc. Jack Dane has passed away. He is the former NWA heavyweight champion who unexpectedly died at age 48. The report that I'm about to read is reported from Wrestling Inc. This news shocks the wrestling community, and our hearts go out to his family and friends. On Thursday afternoon, the NWA announced the passing of Jeremy Lane, known as fans as Jack Dane. Dane, a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion and multi-time NWA National Heavyweight Champion, died at 48 on December 25th due to complications from a heart attack. Dane began his wrestling career in 2012 with NWA Houston and later competed in New Japan Pro Wrestling, facing notable wrestlers like Kushida and Shelton Benjamin. Dane held the NWA World Heavyweight title for 419 days before losing it to Tim Storm in 2016. He's worked with various promotions, including Ring of Honor and Impact, and returned to NWA in 2020, becoming a two-time NWA National Heavyweight Champion. His last match was on October 2024, where he and Tim Storm defeated Jake Dumas and Zion on NWA Power. WrestleVotes has reported that Logan Paul is considered a potential WrestleMania opponent for John Cena. However, WWE's creative team strongly opposes this idea, believing that Cena deserves a more fitting final match at WrestleMania. I personally don't share the same disapproval of this proposed match. Some people have suggested that this should occur at a Saudi event, arguing that John Cena deserves better for his last WrestleMania appearance. I want to reiterate that WrestleMania will still be a two-day event in 2025. Last year, we saw the WWE Champion perform on both days, which was a fantastic storytelling decision. If Cena can wrestle twice, what's the issue? Even if one of those matches is against Logan Paul. Having Logan face Cena is significant. I think it would be significant for Cena's retirement story. Additionally, I don't believe that Cena must win another championship to surpass the WWE recognized record held by Ric Flair by this year's WrestleMania. According to WWE marketing, John Cena will not participate in the 2025 Royal Rumble. He's expected to begin his farewell tour with a special appearance in Toronto at the Elimination Chamber event in March 2025. Therefore, his final Royal Rumble appearance should take place in 2026. So this timeline allows for ample opportunity for Cena to have the matches fans believe he deserves, including a match against Logan Paul at this year's WrestleMania. In conclusion, fans should recognize that this news might be manufactured to elicit the reaction WWE desires regarding this matchup. Social media is already overflowing with thousands of comments expressing dislike for this wrestling match. WWE could leverage this engagement to drop a teaser featuring John Cena and Logan during the WWE Raw debut on Netflix. Okay, so here's my first part of my predictions for 2025. First, John Cena heel turn. Yes, I believe it's finally going to happen. I envision WWE wants this to reminiscent of Hulk Hogan's heel turn in WCW. The only downside is that Cena has indicated he will retire after 2025 as a babyface. However, could Cena potentially turn heel and extend his WWE career into 2026? Remember that I mentioned the possibility of Cena wrestling at the 2026 Royal Rumble, especially since he's not scheduled to compete until March 2025 at the Elimination Chamber in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Next prediction, Solo Sikoa as the World Heavyweight Champion. I'm not convinced that Gunther will stay on Monday Night Raw as the champion. Cody Rhodes is coming to Raw along with Roman Reigns to stay on the Netflix brand at some point. Gunther will be moved to SmackDown, and Solo Sikoa will remain on SmackDown, and they will clash over a championship once Solo loses the Ulu Fala. Next prediction, WrestleMania 41 on each night will end with a new champion for 2 nights, and on each of those And on each of those 2 nights, new WWE champions will be crowned. Uh, as of who those 2 champions would be, I have no idea. Sorry for that. Next prediction, actually my last prediction, and you can tune in next week for, or the next upload where I'll give you my second list of predictions. Tajiri and Aja Kong for the WWE Hall of Fame. These two will be among the inductees of the class of 2025, in my opinion. With Tajiri, this has become apparent to me once I saw that his WWE World Heavyweight Championship match against Triple H was uploaded on the WWE Vault YouTube channel recently. As for Aja Kong, many of you might think she wasn't in WWE or WWF at that time, but she was. And footage of her match, I remember, has aired in the 90s on Canadian WWE broadcast or WWF broadcasts. You can currently view one of her appearances on the WWE Vault YouTube channel. Aja Kong was rumored to be in a feud for the WWE Women's Championship until Vince McMahon effectively dismantled the women's division. This happened when Alundra Blaze showed up on Nitro with the WWF Women's Championship and threw the belt into a garbage can. Aja Kong is one of the most remarkable women in women's wrestling. Aja Kong is one of the most remarkable women in wrestling history who never became a WWE champion. It's intriguing to consider where the women's division might have gone and which other wrestlers from Japan could have appeared in WWE if circumstances could have been different. Now, to end this upload, I'm going to discuss one more thing, and this concerns Cage Goldberg, which is Bill Goldberg's son. WWE Hall of Famer Bill Goldberg's son Cage spoke with Bill after from Sportsnet's Wrestle Binge. He commented on Bret Hart's grudge against his father over a career-ending injury in WCW. Cage says, and I quote, "We don't talk about it much. You have to let things go. You can't dwell on one thing when someone is successful," end quote. Now, I appreciate Cage's comment because holding a grudge is not beneficial. More people, I think, should sympathize with Bret, as he genuinely didn't realize how serious his brain injury was. No one paid much attention to concussion protocols back then. And even Bret was unaware of the severity of his condition. If Bret would have exited wrestling after the Goldberg match, and if science had been more widely accepted in professional sports, there's a possibility Bret could have returned full-time in the late 2000s, like Shawn Michaels did, and could have allowed Bret to make millions of dollars leading to retirement in his 50s. The bottom line is, and people might not agree with me saying this, but Bret was robbed of his livelihood and career. And there's no doubt about that in my mind. Fortunately, Bret avoided the struggles that affected many other wrestlers, and he's still a multimillionaire at 67 years old while maintaining his dignity. And it's also intriguing to know that Bret has found peace and success. So that's all for this today's upload on the Round Number One YouTube channel. I'll see you next time.